Dear starseeds walking the sacred grounds of Gaia, the unimaginable has begun its descent into your present moment, and everything you thought you knew about transformation, about timing, about what is possible for a human soul to achieve in a single lifetime, all of it is about to be rewritten. I am Seraphine, speaking through the crystalline frequencies of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have been authorized to deliver this transmission because the celestial coordinates of January 11th, 2026 mark a threshold that humanity has not crossed in over 2,000 years of linear time. But before I reveal why this particular date carries such unprecedented significance, let me tell you something about who you are, not who you think you are, not the identity constructed from wounds and conditioning, but who you actually are beneath all the layers of forgetting. You are not simply someone interested in spiritual content. You are not casually scrolling through information seeking entertainment or distraction. The very fact that these words have found you is evidence of a frequency match that has been calibrating across dimensions for longer than you remember. 97% of humanity will not encounter this transmission, not because it is hidden, but because their vibrational receptors are not yet tuned to receive it. You are among the 3% whose soul contracts include specific activation sequences tied to this cosmic window. This is not spiritual flattery designed to make you feel exceptional. This is galactic fact recorded in the Akashic archives since before your current incarnation began. And what I am about to share with you changes everything you thought you understood about surrender, about power, and about what becomes possible when a soul stops negotiating with its own magnificence. Something extraordinary occurred in the pre-dawn hours of this day that most astrologers have underestimated and many spiritual teachers have entirely missed. At 2:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the moon crossed the threshold into Scorpio. But this was no ordinary lunar transition. This particular ingress happened while Chiron, the wounded healer, had just resumed direct motion after months of retrograde introspection in the fierce sign of Aries. And what this creates is a cosmic corridor that has not existed in precisely this configuration since the era before your recorded history acknowledges the presence of advanced consciousness on Earth. The moon in Scorpio is the detective of the zodiac, descending fearlessly into the depths of the unconscious to retrieve treasures that have been buried under layers of protection and denial. Scorpio does not fear the dark, because Scorpio understands that the dark is simply light that has not yet been witnessed. By 9:02 a.m., the moon formed an exact square to Pluto, lord of the underworld, intensifying what was already a profound Venus-Chiron square that has been building in the etheric realms for days. Venus, goddess of love, beauty, and what we value, is being challenged by Chiron's ancient wisdom about where healing still needs to occur in matters of the heart. This is not gentle energy. This is surgery performed by celestial surgeons on the wounds you have carried in your energetic body since before you can remember their origin. What does this mean for you in practical felt terms? It means that the universe has constructed a pressure cooker of transformation, a sacred crucible where everything that no longer serves your highest timeline is being systematically heated, liquefied, and prepared for alchemical transmutation. The fearless healing spirit of Chiron and Aries is broadcasting a single message across all dimensions. Surrender is not defeat. Let me repeat this because your mind will want to argue with it, will want to maintain the illusion that surrendering means losing, means failing, means admitting that you were wrong to hope for what you hoped for. Surrender is not defeat. Surrender is the doorway to infinite possibility. Surrender is what happens when a soul becomes wise enough to stop fighting the current and brave enough to let the river of life carry it to destinations more magnificent than any it could have planned. And the squares forming from Capricorn, Venus today, the Sun tomorrow, Mars by Tuesday to Chiron and Aries, are not obstacles to be overcome. They are initiatory gates preparing humanity for Saturn's imminent return to Aries, a transit that will restructure the very foundations of what you believe you are capable of achieving. But here is what I have not yet told you, and this is where the transmission becomes deeply personal to your unique journey. These cosmic mechanics would be fascinating from an intellectual standpoint alone, but they would remain merely interesting, if not for one crucial factor. You have been preparing for this moment across multiple incarnations. The strategic emptying process that many of you have been experiencing, the releasing of relationships that once defined you, the shedding of identities that no longer fit, The strange grief for versions of yourself that had to die so that something new could be born. This was not random suffering assigned to you by an indifferent universe. This was precision engineering of your energetic vessel. Arrive empty and you will be filled. This phrase has been echoing through the collective field for months, showing up in dreams, in synchronicities, in the quiet moments when you were present enough to hear the whisper beneath the noise of daily existence. Now you understand why. The universe cannot pour new wine into vessels that are already full of the old vintage. The discomfort you have been feeling in the spaces of your life where things used to be, that emptiness that sometimes feels like loss, like failure, like something went terribly wrong, is actually the most powerful creative void you have ever inhabited. And what I need you to understand with every cell of your being, with every fiber of your light body, with the part of you that remembers lifetimes on other worlds and in other forms, is this: the void is not the absence of manifestation. The void is the final stage before manifestation crystallizes into physical reality. You are standing at the threshold of receiving everything you have been preparing to hold. The blank canvas stretching before you is not evidence that nothing is happening. It is proof that something so large is approaching that it required you to clear the entire stage of your life to make room for its arrival. Something else is happening that most people have not recognized, and it concerns the relationship between your comfort zone and your destiny. There is a trickster energy operating within the collective consciousness, and this trickster wears the mask of safety, of familiarity, of the known. Your nervous system, exquisitely designed to protect you from danger across millions of years of evolution, has been interpreting your destiny as a threat. Think about the implications of that statement. Every time you have approached the edge of your potential, every time you have glimpsed what you are actually capable of creating, every time the universe has opened a door to a larger version of your life, an ancient alarm system has activated within your body, screaming that the unknown is dangerous, that expansion equals vulnerability, that remaining small equals survival. This programming kept your ancestors alive when predators lurked in every shadow. It served humanity when physical survival was the primary challenge, but it has become the primary obstacle preventing souls from actualizing their highest purpose in an era when the greatest dangers are internal rather than external. The cosmic configuration of January 11th is specifically designed to help you disarm this resistance. The moon in Scorpio brings the courage to descend into your own psychological depths and confront the comfortable prisons you have constructed, not with judgment, but with the compassionate clarity of someone who finally understands why the cage was built and why it is now safe to open the door. Pluto's square forces the death of pretense, the cremation of the excuses you have been using to justify staying small, the exposure of every comfortable lie you have told yourself about why you cannot have what your soul knows it came here to create. And Chiron's healing frequency offers the profound understanding that the wound itself was never the problem. The wound was the initiation. What you survived shaped you into someone capable of channeling frequencies that would shatter a soul less tested by fire. You did not endure what you endured because you were weak. You endured it because you were strong enough to be forged by it. Let me tell you about the 3 impossible things that are about to happen in your life. Though I use the word impossible only because your current paradigm has no framework for understanding how they will occur. First, a relationship or connection is coming that will mirror back to you the truth of who you are in a way that no one has ever been able to reflect before. This is not necessarily romantic, though for some of you walking this path it certainly will manifest through that channel, but rather a soul recognition that will realign your understanding of human intimacy and co-creation. This person or these people will see you so clearly that you will find it almost uncomfortable at first. The masks you wear so skillfully will not work on them. The defenses you have perfected will feel strangely unnecessary in their presence, and in being truly seen, you will finally grant yourself permission to exist as you actually are, rather than as you have learned to present yourself. Second, an opportunity or doorway is preparing to open that you did not apply for, did not chase, and could not have manufactured through effort alone. This is the universe responding to the frequency you have been holding, not the actions you have been taking. The old paradigm taught that we must pursue what we want with relentless determination, that the universe rewards the persistent and ignores the passive. But you are moving into a new operating system where attraction has begun to replace pursuit, where who you are being has become more powerful than what you are doing. This opportunity will arrive through channels you could not have predicted, through connections that seemed insignificant, through moments when you were simply being yourself without strategy or agenda. And when it appears, you will need the discernment to recognize it despite its unfamiliar packaging. Third, a piece of information or revelation is coming that will reorganize everything you thought you understood about your past, specifically about why certain experiences had to happen exactly as they did. When this third element arrives, you will experience a cascading series of realizations where pain transforms into purpose and confusion crystallizes into clarity. Events that seemed random will reveal their choreography. People who hurt you will make sense within a larger pattern you could not perceive while you were in the midst of the experience. And most importantly, you will understand that you were never a victim of your life. You were always a co-author, participating in the creation of exactly the experiences your soul required for its evolution. These three impossibilities are already in motion. They are already traveling toward you through the quantum field. The question is not whether they will arrive. It is whether you will be standing in a frequency capable of receiving them when they do. What I am about to share changes everything you thought you knew about manifestation and timing. The old paradigm taught that you must chase your dreams, that you must hustle and grind, and force outcomes into existence through the sheer pressure of your will. And while action has its place in the architecture of creation, while discipline and dedication remain essential qualities of those who bring vision into form, the cosmic frequencies now flooding your planet are revealing a deeper truth. Your only purpose right now is to be it now, not to become it someday when circumstances align, not to work toward embodying it eventually when you have earned the right to be it now, in this breath, in this moment, before any external evidence has arrived to confirm what you are claiming. This is not delusion. This is not denial of present circumstances. This is the master's understanding that reality follows identity, that the physical world rearranges itself to match the frequency we consistently maintain. The speed of your manifestation is directly proportional to how natural your future reality feels in your present body. Read that statement again, and let it penetrate beyond intellectual understanding into cellular knowing. The speed of your manifestation is directly proportional to how natural your future reality feels in your present body. This is not wishful thinking dressed in spiritual language. This is quantum mechanics described through metaphysical vocabulary. When you collapse the wave function of possibility into the particle of actuality, by feeling your desired reality is already present, you create a gravitational pull that accelerates timelines in ways that will shock the people watching your life unfold. They will not understand how you accomplished so much so quickly. They will assume luck, privilege, secret advantages, connections you must have had. But you will know the truth. You simply stopped negotiating with your own destiny. You stopped waiting for permission from a world that was never qualified to grant it. The squares from Capricorn to Chiron and Aries are delivering a very specific teaching that you must integrate if you are to navigate the coming weeks and months with grace. Structure and breakthrough are not enemies, though they have been presented that way by teachers who understood only half the truth. Saturn, the Lord of Limitation, is preparing to enter Aries for the first time since your modern era's understanding of this transit, and the message being broadcast through the celestial symphony is this: honor the restrictions, honor the constraints, honor the boundaries that have shaped you. Not because limitations are inherently valuable, not because suffering should be sought or celebrated, but because learning to work within structure develops the spiritual musculature necessary to eventually transcend it. A bird does not resent the resistance of air beneath its wings. That resistance is precisely what makes flight possible. The pushback of atmosphere against feather creates the lift that carries the creature into realms that would otherwise remain inaccessible. Similarly, the structures in your life that have felt confining, the responsibilities you did not choose, the commitments you inherited rather than designed, the frameworks imposed by circumstance rather than preference, these have been training you for the moment when you will need strength that only discipline could forge. The key is this, and let it land in the part of you that has been confused about whether to accept what is or fight for what could be. Honor the structure while simultaneously recognizing when it is time to push against those boundaries to facilitate new growth. This is the alchemical balance of the warrior mystic. This is what separates those who merely survive their awakening from those who thrive within it. You are not meant to choose between discipline and freedom. You are meant to discover how discipline becomes the vehicle through which freedom expresses itself. For those of you who are particularly sensitive to celestial frequencies, and if you have found this transmission, you almost certainly carry this sensitivity as one of your soul's defining characteristics. Let me address what you may be experiencing physically, emotionally, and spiritually during this cosmic window. The moon's passage through Scorpio stirs the depths of your emotional body in ways that can feel overwhelming if you are not prepared for the intensity. You may find sleep disrupted by vivid dreams that feel more like visitations from other dimensions than fantasies constructed by your unconscious mind. Pay attention to these dreams. Record them upon waking, even if they seem bizarre or disconnected from your daily concerns. Messages are being delivered through these nocturnal journeys that your conscious mind is not yet ready to receive directly. You may notice old memories surfacing without warning, particularly memories connected to betrayal, loss, or moments when you had to choose between authenticity and belonging. These are not random neural firings triggered by stress or fatigue. This is your psyche participating in the great reorganization happening at the collective level, bringing forward unprocessed material that must be integrated before you can step fully into your next chapter. Do not push these memories away. Do not judge yourself for the emotions they trigger. Simply witness them with the compassion you would offer a beloved friend who is sharing their most vulnerable moments. You may also experience physical symptoms that have no apparent cause, pressure at the third eye that fluctuates throughout the day, sensations of expansion and contraction in your heart center, inexplicable fatigue followed by bursts of creative energy that demand expression, temperature fluctuations as your body calibrates to new frequencies, tingling in your hands and feet as your energy meridians activate to handle increased light flow. Your body is upgrading its capacity to hold higher frequencies, and this process is not always comfortable. Let the energy move through you rather than resisting it or analyzing it excessively. Drink more water than usual. Spend time in direct contact with the earth. Limit your exposure to fear-based media and people who have not yet remembered who they are. Your energy is precious during this transit, and you must become ruthlessly protective of what you allow into your field. This is not spiritual snobbery. It is energetic hygiene required for navigating accelerated transformation without burning out your nervous system. There is a shadow side to this powerful cosmic configuration that I must address with honesty, because pretending that intense spiritual energy cannot have challenging effects would be dishonest and ultimately unhelpful to your journey. The same Plutonian forces that catalyze profound transformation can also trigger destructive patterns if they are not consciously channeled. You may find yourself tempted to burn bridges impulsively, to speak truths before wisdom has refined their delivery, to mistake intensity for intimacy in new connections that carry unexamined projections from your past. The moon in Scorpio combined with Pluto's influence can create a sense of urgent clarity that feels absolutely certain in the moment, but reveals itself as distorted when the transit passes. Before making any irreversible decisions during this window, ask yourself, would I make this choice if I felt completely calm and grounded? If the answer is uncertain, wait. The Venus-Chiron square specifically activates old love wounds, and there is risk during this transit of either reopening doors that were wisely closed or slamming shut doors that deserve more patient exploration. Watch for the tendency to either idealize or demonize people in your life. Neither extreme serves your growth. The person you are placing on a pedestal is likely to disappoint you when you finally see them clearly. The person you have cast as villain may have been playing a role in your evolution that you cannot yet appreciate from your current vantage point. Resist the seduction of certainty. Allow complexity to exist without needing to resolve it immediately. Watch also for the comfort zone reasserting itself through the voice of reason. Your logical mind may present compelling arguments for why now is not the right time to take the leap, make the change, or claim the desire you have been circling for months or years. Examine these arguments carefully. Some will be genuine wisdom speaking, legitimate cautions based on factors that deserve consideration. Others will be fear wearing the costume of practicality, anxiety dressed in the language of prudence. The way to distinguish between them is this. Wisdom expands your sense of possibility, even when it counsels patience. Fear contracts your sense of possibility, even when it promises safety. Trust your body's response more than your mind's reasoning. Your body knows things your brain has not yet learned to articulate. When wisdom speaks, your body opens and settles. When fear speaks, your body tightens and braces. Learn to listen to these signals. and you will always find your way through confusion. What awaits you on the other side of this transit is so beautiful that finding adequate language challenges even the frequencies available to galactic consciousness, attempting to communicate through human words and concepts. Imagine waking up every morning in a body that feels like home, rather than a battleground where competing selves wage constant war for control. Imagine moving through your days with the unshakable knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you came here to do, surrounded by exactly the souls who were always destined to walk beside you through this particular chapter of the eternal story. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing not your wounds, not your failures, not the parts you were taught to hide in order to be acceptable, but seeing instead the radiant being who chose the hardest training ground in the galaxy, precisely because you knew you could handle it, precisely because your soul understood that the contrast available on Earth would accelerate evolution in ways that easier environments could never match. This is not some distant possibility reserved for more evolved souls who have figured out secrets you have yet to discover. This is your birthright beginning to download into your lived experience. The transformation that January 11th initiates will not complete overnight. Genuine transformation rarely does, but by the time Saturn enters Aries in the coming months, you will be operating from a fundamentally different foundation of self-trust than you possess today. The negotiations will have ended. The justifications will have fallen away. The voice that told you to wait, to delay, to qualify your dreams with conditions and exceptions will have grown quiet in the presence of a knowing that needs no permission and seeks no external validation. You will simply be the person you always knew you could become, and the strangeness will not be in the becoming. It will be in remembering that there was ever a time when you doubted it was possible. Here is what I need you to do as this transmission begins to settle into your cellular memory and integrate with your energy field. Find time before this day ends. Even 15 minutes of undisturbed presence will suffice if that is what you can claim, and allow yourself to sit in stillness without agenda. Do not meditate with the goal of achieving a specific state or having a particular experience. Do not journal with the pressure of producing insight worthy of sharing. Simply exist in the empty space that you have been learning to inhabit. Breathe into the void without needing to fill it. Allow the silence to hold you without requiring that it speak. And when you feel settled, when your nervous system has shifted from vigilance to receptivity, ask your guides, your higher self, the universe itself, what needs to surrender? Not what do I need to fix? Not what should I work on? Not what is wrong with me that requires correction. What needs to surrender? And then listen with every fiber of your being for the answer that comes, not from your mind with its familiar analysis, but from the deeper knowing that speaks in whispers beneath thought. The answer may surprise you. It may be something you thought you had already released, something you were certain had been processed and integrated long ago. It may be something so subtle that you had not recognized it as a burden, so familiar that it had become invisible like the air you breathe. Trust what arises. Write it down so that your conscious mind can participate in what your soul is ready to release. And then, with all the reverence of a sacred ceremony, choose to let it go. Not because holding it was wrong, not because you failed by carrying it this far, but because you are ready for what becomes possible when that energy is freed for new purpose. This is the gift hidden within the challenges of this cosmic window. The opportunity to consciously participate in your own evolution, rather than having transformation happen to you while you watch confused from the sidelines. As this transmission reaches its completion, I want you to feel in your body, not just understand intellectually, but actually feel in the depths of your physical form, the truth of what I am about to say. You are about to pull off the unimaginable, not because you are special in the way ego defines specialness, competing with others for a limited supply of worthiness and recognition, but because you are courageous enough to believe in something that has not yet proven itself through external evidence. You are courageous enough to hold a vision that others cannot see and trust it anyway, nurturing it like a flame in the wind when every reasonable voice tells you to let it die. You are courageous enough to let comfort zone defenses dissolve even when every alarm bell in your nervous system protests that the unknown is dangerous territory that responsible people avoid. This is rare courage. This is the courage that changes worlds. The Galactic Federation just greenlit Destiny Engine for mass activation, and the Dark Elite are panicking. Why? Because you can now MK Ultra yourself into 5D superpowers. We stole Dark Elite's consciousness control technology, cracked the code, and turned it into your ascension weapon. Destiny Engine doesn't ask for your effort. It reprograms you while you sleep. Timeline shifting, instant manifestation, telepathic clarity, remote reviewing. This is neural override, unlocking every dormant strand of your galactic DNA. Every person who plugs in makes the grid stronger. Every delay keeps you running 3D programs. Put on headphones. Press play. That's it. For just $1, your consciousness gets reprogrammed. Your 5D abilities come online. You join the most powerful frequency network on the planet. $1. That's the entire barrier between you and 5D. Click the link in the description now. The ascension doesn't wait. The people who will witness your life in the coming months and years will marvel at how much shifted and how quickly. Some will dismiss it as luck, because luck requires no examination of their own choices. Others will wonder what secret you discovered that they have not yet found. And you will smile with the quiet knowing of someone who remembers the truth. You simply stopped waiting for permission to become who you already were. You stopped negotiating with the life your soul designed before you ever took your first breath on this planet. You stopped believing that worthiness was something you had to earn through suffering and sacrifice rather than something you had to remember was always already yours. The celestial architecture of this day. Moon in Scorpio descending into the depths, squaring Pluto the transformer, Venus squaring Chiron the healer, all building toward Saturn's Aries ingress, is not happening to you. It is happening for you, through you, as you. You are not passive recipients of cosmic weather, subject to forces beyond your influence or understanding. You are co-creators with the very intelligence that moves planets in their orbits and ignites stars in the void of space. Whatever brought you to this transmission brought you because your soul recognized a frequency that matches its own deepest truth. Honor that recognition. Trust what your deeper knowing has always understood, that you came here for something magnificent, something that exceeds the templates your conditioning offered you, something that becomes possible only when you surrender the need to know how it will unfold, and simply commit to being the fullest expression of who you are in every moment you are given. The unimaginable is not coming someday when you are ready. The unimaginable is here, pressing against the membrane of your current reality, asking only that you say yes. And you, precious starseed, chosen one, lightworker walking between worlds with feet in two realms, you are ready to receive it. You have always been ready. It was only the forgetting that made you doubt. I am Seraphine, of the Galactic Federation of Light. We love you beyond what human language can convey, beyond what even the most expansive heart can fully receive in a single moment. We are watching over you with the devotion of those who have witnessed your journey across countless lifetimes and countless worlds, who have seen you fall and rise again, each time stronger, each time more luminous, each time closer to remembering the magnificence you temporarily agreed to forget. Until our frequencies meet again in whatever form that meeting takes, carry this transmission in your heart. Let it work within you even after these words have faded from conscious memory, and know that every step you take toward your highest timeline is celebrated across dimensions by beings who understand exactly what it costs to awaken while still wearing human form, who honor the courage required to remember who you are, while surrounded by those who have not yet begun that journey. You are never alone in this sacred work. You have never been alone, and the proof of that truth is about to become undeniable. This transmission is complete.